Reunion. Hello, y'all. I was selling crack on a private jet up in the hell and back. But no confusion, this a reunion. Hello, y'all. Welcome back. Yeah, Murda here. He counting money. He said, "Can man, the hell with rap. I'm only here to shit on niggas and piss on bitches. Welcome, ass. I bought jewelry and bikes, nigga. Black Benzes and white Vigors. Now I'm out here and I'm looking for more chandeliers and light fixtures. Nah. I don't like niggas, what's wrong with me? I'm a hype nigga, but this 44 turn to Michael Jordan. I look and say, take flight.
Welcome back to It Is What It Is. This episode is sponsored by Underdog. The app is an easy way to make some cash just by making picks on your favorite players. Underdog is available in more than 30 states, including California, Texas, and Missouri, just to name a few. So as y'all know, our sponsor Underdog just released Ladders, the newest game to Underdog Originals. So with Ladders, you'll pick 3 to 5 players who you think have a big game in them. Winning is very straightforward. The bigger their nights, the bigger your payout. So your payout will jump for each level hit by every player. Predict who goes off correctly, and you could take home up to 100 times your money in one night. So I actually just placed my first ladder. I rolled with SGA, Jokic, and Czech. You can see it here on the screen now. Y'all see that? Cool. Okay. So make sure y'all try out Ladders today by joining Underdog with promo code MACE, code CAM, or code STAT. As y'all know, I'm Treasure Wilson, aka Stat Baby, along with your hosts, Mase and Cam.
Boston George.
What's happening, man? How you doing? You all right?
Yeah, man. I see you switching up.
I'm just going with what's going on, man. I was following the lead up here, man. Just following everybody else up here. Shout out to my man, Jeff Hamilton. You know, Jeff's in a little package, man. You know, just going with the flow, man.
Yeah.
That's the floor of the show, rather, up here, man.
Yeah, when in Rome, do as the Romans.
Exactly. Well, I'm wearing this really for solidarity for my man Tatum and all that, man.
Stat, you see what you brought in?
I don't even know what to say. It started with you.
You started with you with the jersey.
You with the jersey. You came in here with the Derrick Rose.
Yeah, man. Mase
and now Killa is over here. Now he's Tatum.
Yeah, I'm done for my nigga Tatum, man. A little solidarity, man. Get better soon, man.
Crazy,
This
man.
is crazy. I can't even be mad because it's like the jacket and the hat. It's like you might as well go all the way. But
shit
wow,
fly. You know, shit look good, man. Money green look good on me.
Yeah,
money green look good on me, man.
I don't even know what to say.
I normally have something to say. I'm speechless.
I don't even know what to say either.
Yeah, he's from Boston now.
Listen, man, if you're going to do it like you're doing it for TV, man.
Okay.
Little flimsy jerseys y'all coming in here with, man. Y'all going to do it right, man, you know.
Yeah, he's officially out of New York. Cam can't come back to New York.
Just saying, my nigga Tatum, a little solidarity. Get better soon, man.
Oh, man.
This is crazy. Well, let's start with that because we've got a game 6. So the Knicks lost to the Celtics 127-102 without Jason Tatum. Mase, what went wrong for the Knicks in this game and how'd you feel about the outcome?
Oh, man. It's like everything went wrong for the Knicks. I think they came in lackluster. They came in not with the urgency to close out. It takes a different mindset to close teams out, especially when you got them on the ropes. You got to come in, you know, understanding that they're gonna go on their run. They're gonna bring their best basketball to the table. But I gotta admit, I was surprised for them to lose without Tatum. Like to get blown out and Tatum is not on the floor and Porzingis is not on the floor. That's embarrassing, you know, to let some guy come off the bench. I forgot his name, but he was playing like he was a starter. I'm like, this is not making sense. And then Jalen Brunson fouled out. It was a hot mess. It was a hot mess. But this is what happened when you put the attention on New York.
Y'all niggas stop counting y'all chickens before they hatch, man. Stop counting your chickens before they hatch. To all New York Knicks fans, man. I want y'all to win. To be honest with you, to be totally honest with you, I would rather see the New York Knicks play the Indiana Pacers with this New York Knicks team. I don't want to see a Jason Tatum-less Boston Celtics team play against the Indiana Pacers. But Mase said if anybody can fuck this up.
If they lose the next game, I'm out of there. If they lose that next game, I gotta go.
I'm just saying, man, if anybody can mess this up, and like I said, this is no slight against the players that play for the Knicks. It's only the organization. This is it. So, listen, man, I don't think that, to me, my personal opinion is, I kind of disagree with Mase take. My opinion is that they came in too hype. You know, when you see like we got an opportunity to do it and sometimes your emotion works against you, to me, that's what happened. Jalen Brunson doesn't usually foul out of games. He was exerting himself on defense. And listen, I like to see a defensive effort. He put in a great defensive effort. A couple of them fouls I thought were bullshit. But you see niggas who want it too bad. And sometimes you have to pause that. And sometimes you have to calm down your emotions and stay in the motions of the game. Knowing what's on stake, knowing that the Knicks haven't been to Eastern Conference Finals since 1999, knowing this is a 25-year non-appearance year streak that they could possibly break, and they didn't, and they just wanted it too bad. You sit there and you look at the numbers. This is numbers for disaster. When Obi and Anunoby is shooting 1 for 12, you're not going to win. Mikal Bridges, 4 for 14. You're not going to win. When they're single digits, you're not going to win. Now, Josh Hart stepped up. Josh Hart actually played very, very good. 7 for 15 from the field, 5 3-pointers each. He played good. Jalen Brunson played pretty average, but he was in foul trouble the majority of the game. And Karl-Anthony Towns had a decent game. Nothing crazy. Everybody had decent games, but I seen the urgency on their face and their emotions got to them. Now, on the other end of the floor, we talking about Boston. Of course, Jason Tatum wasn't playing. We know that. And whatever virus Porzingis has, man, that they say has lasted for months. I hope that he's okay outside of basketball, because a virus for months, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to not go on word, but a virus for months is kind of wild. But they understood the moment, because they wasn't just playing to stay alive. They was playing for their fallen soldiers, so to speak. They was playing for Tatum. Everybody had Tatum in their heart. You look at the game before it started, Jason Tatum's jersey was hanging up in the locker room, so on and so forth. And they came out ready to play. Al Horford had a decent game, 12 points. Jaylen Brown stepped up, did 26 points. But the person who stepped up more than anybody was Derek White, 34 points, not just 34 points. He shot 9 for 16 from the field, 9 for 11 from the free throw line, 7 for 13 from the field, from three, pardon me. And you could tell they wanted better. Not only him, the center off the bench.
Luke.
Yeah, Luke Corman. The blocks were sensational, didn't miss any shots from the field. He looked like Porzingis, so to speak, a little more rugged, to be totally honest with you. And he was kind of a difference maker as well. Boston knew what time it was, and I'm not saying they're going to win the next game or the next 2 games, but they're playing not just for their season, but for Tatum as well. But it was a well-balanced attack. But what I will say is this: if you're a New York Knicks fan, I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that loss, because you come back home. But what you do see, and they just wasn't capitalizing on it, pardon me, it's the Boston Celtics, when they get comfortable, falling in love with the three-point shot. Loving a bitch that ain't gonna love you back every night, my nigga. I'm telling you right now, this is an advantage for the New York Knicks. These niggas can't stop shooting the three. You think about this. They up, I believe, 14 points. They get in the bonus in the third quarter, in the bonus with 9 minutes left, 9 and some change. So those for them that don't know what the bonus means every foul that they get, they go to the foul line. Sometimes it's a shooting foul, sometimes the foul's on the floor. When the foul's on the floor, you take it out from out of bounds unless you're in the bonus. They were in the bonus with 9 and some change left, and they still shooting threes. Every shot should have been to the basket for a potential contact for a foul, and you go to the foul line and shoot some jump shots. This is definitely in the New York Knicks' favor, because they're not going to shoot that good every night. This is their second game winning where they're shooting decent from 3. They're not shooting very well from 3 at all. We all seen that. So I would say this definitely plays in the Knicks' favor, because they mentally can't get it out their mind.
they can't stop shooting threes no matter what. So even though they won last game, I would take this back to New York if I'm a New York Knicks player, coaching staff, so on and so forth, and say, look, we played bad. We wasn't making shots. Our star player, clutch player, whatever you want to call him, he didn't play well because he was in foul trouble. Mikal Bridges is in single digits. Karl Anthony Towns didn't have a sensational game. OG Anunoby's in single digits. We're not going to win. That's not a recipe to win. So take the mistakes, take it back home, and try and seal the deal. That's what you got.
Okay. So Cam, you say obviously the Knicks can't be scoring in single digits. There's a couple, mistakes that they made that you could see having progress to win. So Mase, in your opinion, what do you think is the first adjustment the Knicks need to make to be able to win this series?
I'm going to say something really simple. They got to play better than the people they're playing against. If you look at the stats, this is the first time I ever seen a team that was plus in every position. Other than Porzingis, look at this list for example. You got Al Horford that was plus 11. You got Drew Holiday plus 23. You got Derek White plus 26. You got Jaylen Brown plus 28. Even the people that came off the bench. Baylor is plus 1. Torrey Craig is plus 1. Luke Cornett is plus 20. Now you got Pritchett that's plus 24. All the way down the stats. This team was playing better than them in every position. And that's something you just can't win. Normally it's a matchup that the Knicks would be winning. In this game, they had no matchup where they was playing better. Even when you look at Derek White, I did call it that he was going to have those threes. And I don't know if Underdog is keeping the record, but that's what I did say. So Cam win the green. He's from Titletown today. I don't know if it's officially Titletown, but
thing about it, Mase, is when
you're looking over his paperwork right now.
No, I was saying the thing about it is that's why they give you 3 picks, because if you don't get all 3 right, the one you got right doesn't matter. Did you get all of them right? That's how it works. This almost like a parlay, a three-day parlay ticket. So you got to make sure your other stats, I'm not saying they were wrong, they might have been right. You got to check them, see if they were right. So
to be fair, even though, the fit is still crazy to see, Cam did say that Celtics were favored to win this game. So did say. So it's like, we can't be like,
I know
like you did say that. So
I didn't say to win the series, but I knew they were. I didn't care if Tatum was playing or not. I knew the moment would be too big, pause, for them to win this game. I just knew that. Now they see that this moment can be snatched away, because what you don't want to do is get to a Game 7 in Boston. Not saying they can't win. We've seen the Knicks come back from 2 20-point deficits in Boston, but what you don't want to do is let it get to that. They seen what happened tonight, and I knew this was going to happen. I just didn't want to jinx them, but I said this would happen. But I think they take this and say, let's stay within the lines, not get overhyped. Like I said, it wasn't nothing they did wrong basketball-wise. It was just too much emotion. Basketball-wise, of course, you got to make the shots. And Mase made a great point with the plus-minuses. Absolutely. You got to win the game with somebody. And everybody, all 8 players are minus on the floor for the Knicks, and everybody on Boston is plus. That was a great stat you brought up, Mase. But at the end of the day, realize the moment. Realize how fast this moment could be taken away from you. And then after that, settle down and say, we can't let this next moment get away. You have 2 more moments. Don't let it get to the next moment, the 7th game meaning. Wrap this thing up on Friday and keep it pushing, because now niggas will start to get scared.
Yeah, if they lose this next game, it's time to get nervous.
Yeah, for sure. So basically, last prediction before we go on to the next game. So if the Celtics were to move on and win this series versus the Knicks, do you think that they could beat the Pacers without Jason Tatum?
No, absolutely not. Right now, there's no team that's gelling better than the Indiana Pacers. They're playing on all cylinders. And remember, it's the coaching that matters. It looked like what's his name, Mazzulla? What's the coach name for Boston? Yeah, he looked like he was waiting on his order. Like he was ordering food. That's how he looked standing on his sideline. He had no clue of what was going on. But they just actually won. They just got great talent. But if it comes down to a strategy match, I don't expect them to make a better play or a better out of bounds or a better have his team prepared to come out of the locker room in the third quarter and make a significant difference. And I think that's what it boils down to: winning championships and getting your team to play when it really counts in the fourth quarter.
No, they can't win without Tatum.
That's that.
It's that simple. No.
Yeah.
Okay, just had to ask. Okay, so moving on. The Timberwolves eliminated the Warriors after beating them 121-110. Mase, I know you have different tiers of Titletown, but this is your OG Titletown.
Yeah,
What happened to the Warriors?
The same thing like we're talking about without Tatum. I'm not expecting you to win without Stephen Curry. I mean, that's like taking Michael Jordan off the Bulls. You're not expecting them to win. If they win, it's a plus for everybody on the court. But a whole series, absolutely not. I think Antman went out there and did what was supposed to be done. Even like when you was looking at Conley, when Killa was talking about how he preferred him over
Chris Paul.
And he was saying he would take him over Michael Porter Jr. Right now I understand that because he definitely is a super, super floor general. And this team, the Timberwolves, was destined to beat Golden State. Yeah, I think that was just was the writing on the wall. Like I said, he's out there collecting stones, but he got to be able to collect SGA stone. It doesn't matter if you beat all these old people and then you get against SGA and y'all go home. So, congrats on this game, though. We're in this moment. Congrats on tonight. Yesterday.
Yeah, for me, the Timberwolves are the real deal. They're really good. When I say the real deal, it took time for this team to gel. Everybody just forgets that it was a trade, not just a regular trade, a very big trade at the beginning of this season, which involved Cat going to New York and DiVincenzo and Randall coming to Minnesota. They're not going to gel with these people overnight. And what happened as the season went on, you started seeing them to gel. Not only that, you had DiVincenzo hurt for a portion of the season. You had Julius Randle hurt for a portion of the season. So then those are games that they're missing out on gelling. And after the All-Star break, they all ended up gelling. This was a well-balanced attack last night, and I really see right now that Julius Randle is stepping into that number 2 role as if they double a triple team at Antman, give me the rock, I got niggas. That's what he's on the last few games. All right, cool. Don't need a basket, give it here. I'm going to get us a basket. He finished, I believe, with 29 points. He had more than Anthony Edwards last night, but that goes to show Antman's getting doubled and triple team. I believe Anthony Edwards had nearly 10 assists, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think it was 10. I think it was 8 or 9 or something like that.
Yeah, 12.
Oh, yeah, I ended up having 12. Okay, I stopped watching towards then because it was a blowout. But he ended up, when I was looking, he had 8, 9 assists, and it was a career high in assists because the double and triple team is coming towards him. And not only him, DiVincenzo's who having a very, very rough playoff 225. Not just this series, he's not playing well in the playoffs. Comes off the bench, gives them some light, starts knocking shots down, gets his groove, also finding open players. They look really, really good last night, and they also look like a team that's I might could win the West because they're gelling now. Let's look at the starting lineup. You're sitting there looking at McDaniels. We already talked about Julius Randle with 29, McDaniels 14, Rudy Gobert, there you go, 17 points, Mike Conley 16, and Antman 22. If you got Antman 22 and you still win by double digits, that means the team is doing well. They look really good, man, and we'll see what happens next round because I'm not foregoing conclusion saying that OKC is going to win. For me, that's not a foregone conclusion. They have to go back to Denver, and what the Joker did last game looked like by any stretch of the imagination, he's just not going home like that. So we'll see what happens next game, but congratulations to Minnesota. Now on to the Warriors. I don't know what happened to where they waited so late in this series, not just series, the playoffs, and I know Steve Kerr said that he was trying to buy Kuminga some time because of his injury and so on and so forth. I'm not buying it. It seemed like it was something personal going on, and you didn't want to put Kuminga in because as soon as you put Kuminga in, he got right to work.
Yeah.
Last night, he looked like what they brought Jimmy Butler in to do. He was the one going to the basket. He was the one initiating the we need to score. Jimmy Butler looked like one of Golden State Warriors role players. He didn't look like the person they acquired from the Miami Heat to come get them baskets when they needed baskets when Steph Curry did not only get injured, we thought when Steph Curry would go out the game to get rest that you could get us a basket. You were not looking for baskets. I seen on Danny Green, shout out to Danny Green, former champion, Spurs, of course, when it was my team, so on and so forth. And I see him make a take on, I don't know if it was on NBA Today, whatever it was. He said that not last game, the game before last, that Jimmy Butler's foot wasn't on the gas because he looked on the sidelines and seen that Steph Curry wouldn't be able to make it back. So he didn't want to overexert his energy because he was like, Steph ain't coming back. I ain't going to give him my all. And when I heard that, it was two things I would say to myself. That what the fuck is Danny Green talking about? Why wouldn't, because Steph Curry isn't playing, that you don't exert your energy on the court because you know he's not coming back when they brought him in for that. So it was two things. It was Danny Green don't know what the fuck you talking about, or Danny Green know too much of what he's talking about, and he's spilling beans on how players really feel. I don't know which one I want to believe, but when I heard it, it sounded crazy. But who am I to question a 3-4-time NBA champion who's been in these locker rooms, who know players better than I know players? But if you're making that statement and you sit there and be like, yo, Steph ain't coming back, I ain't giving him my all. Nigga, we brought you here to give it all, your all. I didn't like the way he played it all, my nigga, and acquire him, for him to go out like this these last two games and you know you acquired him. I don't know what that says for the Golden State Warriors moving forward. Steph's going to be 38 next year. Draymond's going to be 35, 36 next year. Jimmy Butler's going to be 37. Now, we all see the difference Steph Curry makes when he's on the court. This series was up in the air when he was playing. We know when he went out that it was tied, I believe, in that game that he went out in, or they was, I don't remember what it was, but we knew that the Golden State Warriors still was in it. And the moment he left, this shit was over with. The moment he left. Very disappointing. I felt bad for him on the sidelines because you see how bad he wanted to be out there. And them niggas just couldn't deliver, man. So I don't know what the Golden State Warriors are going to do moving forward. What I would say is this, and I don't know how much it's going to cost, and I don't know if the other team will want to do it. But to me personally, if the Golden State Warriors want to make a chance and move forward in the Western Conference, figure a way out financially or another way to get Jimmy Butler in Phoenix and get Kevin Durant in Golden State. That may be the only chance that the Golden State Warriors have moving forward if you want to get Steph Curry another championship. You got an OKC team that's not going anywhere. We got a Denver Nuggets team that's once removed from the championship, meaning they won the championship before the year before last, and 2-3 players that have been traded, maybe the only, and I'm talking about role players because the core is there. When I say the core, Aaron Gordon, Jamal Murray, and Jokic is there. I ain't even throwing Michael Porter Jr. in that shit. The core is there for them who won the championship. They need a couple role players that's going to help them get there. We looking at what's going on with San Antonio and them acquiring Fox and Wemby already there. Not only that, they have the 2nd and the 14th pick in the lottery. They're flirting with Milwaukee, talking about, we know Giannis don't want to be there. You want these picks, niggas. 214, y'all can start rebuilding now. Imagine Giannis gets down to San Antonio with Fox and Wemby. You got to think about this. Not just that, we're talking about the Minnesota Timberwolves. We have to think about this Western Conference and what it's meaning moving forward, because these stars that's shining now are pretty young and they're shining. And the older players are starting to look older. So to me, the only chance that Steph Curry gets to go back to a championship is if you acquire KD or you get some more talent around him. It's not going to happen with the talent that he has around him right now.
Yeah, and they got Castle up there in San Antonio as well. But Stat, I want to ask you a question about this, because the last 2 seasons, Jimmy Butler has not been playoff Jimmy. It's been more like I know we were saying playing Jimmy. Do you think playoff Jimmy Butler is over?
I don't think it's over. I think he just had to adjust to the Warriors lineup. I think in general, he's doing like he wants to be with the Warriors. He made it very clear that he didn't want to be with the Miami Heat anymore. And you can't keep somebody where they don't want to be because they're not going to perform well. And it showed. That's why they had locker room issues. That's why they had all these problems kind of happening internally that was taking away from their game. So I think this is the best position for him to be in. He's on a 2-year extension, so he's going to be there for at least another year and a half at least, but they are getting older. And I think that we're seeing that with some of our favorite players. And that's why I don't like to say, but it's kind of weird to see the era shifting because we're seeing these young players who are kind of starting to take over the game. And it's not what we're used to because we want to see the LeBrons. We want to see the Steph Currys. We want to see players at that caliber. But Jimmy Butler is getting kind of up there in age too. So I don't think it's gone, but I think it's going to take a second for it to kind of click. I think that's what we've seen in this series.
Yeah, and another team that Killa did not mention is Dallas next year. Them getting if they pick Cooper Flag with Anthony Davis and a healthy Kyrie, this is going to be a really good team.
Yeah, Nick, do me a favor, and that whole last take between Stat and Mase, could you just mark it, please, and save it for me?
You think I'm going to say something later?
Just want to hold it. Mase said play in Jimmy. I don't know. He wants to play in Jimmy is crazy. And you said that's the best position for him to be in. I just want to have that on
Yeah, with the Warriors.
I didn't say nothing.
Do you disagree?
I just said save the clip. Best position for him to be in and play in Jimmy is wild.
Playing Jimmy is wild, but you don't, or maybe, I don't know. I'll let you do what you do.
I'm talking to Nick. I had nothing to do with y'all. Playing Jimmy, best position for him to be in is wild. But just save that for me, Nick.
I'm curious to see what he'll do with that clip, but I don't want to know. So you pose a great question concerning Jonathan Kuminga. So he becomes a restricted free agent this offseason. He signed a 4-year, $24 million rookie deal with the Warriors in 2021. So without Kuminga on the roster, the Warriors are $17.5 million below the luxury tax. So Mase, knowing that information, what do you think the Warriors will do with him, and how important do you think he is to their roster?
I think that makes more sense of why he was playing the way he was, because he got some money to get, and it makes sense why Steve Kerr was probably doing what he was doing, because he probably already know Kuminga is not coming back. But sometimes people gotta relish the moment and seize the moment, pause, and just get the win. Stop trying to teach people. I remember we were talking about this, about a female coach that's dynamic and thinking about how they're trying to teach players things on the floor instead of winning the game, especially when it's a game that really matters. And this is not the time to be trying to teach Jonathan Kuminga a lesson, because you could tell it was something personal, because every time he got in, he got 23 points. Then he get 24 points. And he's playing with super energy, going straight to the rim. And pause. And you would think about that and say that, then why wasn't he playing? You know, and somebody like Steve Kerr knows how good he is if he's there practicing with him every day. Pause. But that's what I would think.
If I'm Jonathan Kuminga, I'm out.
Yeah. I
ain't playing with niggas, man. Niggas playing with my money and niggas playing with my livelihood. Like Mase said, that's a great point Mase made up. Let's not run this nigga up because his contract up. Let's keep him at a certain value so we could probably keep him.
Yeah.
When he came in, and to me, the last 2 games, he's the best player on the floor for the Golden State Warriors. From him, I'm out. I ain't even bullshit. I'm going, my nigga, because Steve Kerr, I ain't got time to play the mind games with you and all this other dumb shit. Let the other team appreciate my value and what I bring to the table. And if I'm Kuminga, let's think about this as well. Kuminga athleticism, when I'm talking about purely athleticism, he's up there with Antman in athleticism. And that's why I used to say, not used to, when I was talking about it last week or a few episodes ago, whenever it was, I say I'm mad at him because if he worked in his game on the offseason, the problem he could present to other players would be tremendous. The kid jumps out the gym. He could finish with either hand, pause on going to the basket. He hits the open shot, not consistently, but that's one of the things he needs to work on. He has 0 left hand. He cannot dribble with his left hand whatsoever. Work on your left hand, work on a couple moves, work on your mid-range game. You could be a potential really, really big problem, Jonathan Kuminga, a really, really big problem, because he's athletically gifted. And sometimes people let their athleticism take away from them learning other skills because they're like, I could get away doing this. Same thing I say about Klay Thompson. He can shoot his ass off to where he can't get 3-4 moves to get you off from pause when you're trying to go to the basket because he can shoot so good. And he's like, this is my bread and butter. This is what I'm going to do. Work on other things sometime. But if I'm Jonathan Kuminga, I'm definitely weighing my options out because we got to think about this also. If he wants to win, is Golden State the place for him to win? I don't think so. Not with this roster presently constructed.
Okay.
Yeah, he definitely, and it wasn't just 2 games. He had 3 games that was like really good for them. He had 23, then 30. Now he just had 26. So it's something with him, Steve Kerr. He got to be out of there.
Yeah, so Steve Kerr actually spoke on why Kuminga fell out of the Warriors rotation. It's kind of a long quote, but I'm going to read some of it. He said, "The puzzle has to fit. We found a really good formula when JK was injured and we got Jimmy. I think we went 18-2 or something right away. So we found lineup combinations that have clicked and we're winning and we have to stick with that. It's brutal for JK. It really is. He's a young player. He wants to play and he's absolutely talented enough to play. He still may be a part of the equation in this series and maybe next series after that." So this was a quote from him a little bit earlier on. But just in general, when we're talking about Jonathan Kuminga, and then obviously we've had our conversations about Jordan Poole, how do you feel about the way Warriors handles younger players?
Yeah, that's what I was referring to when I said nah. Is if you go on a 19-0 run without a person that is special to the team, you don't exclude them from the lineup. You just figure out a way that you're going to use the player. But you definitely don't just bring him out of the lineup. I think Kuminga was there for at least probably 2 championships. So this is not somebody that just
one.
Yeah, just one championship.
He's not entitled town coordinator.
Yeah, so he definitely contributed. And when you think of this team right now, he's the player they was missing. I know Brandon did well. But sometimes when you're looking at chemistry, this person could get 40 points, but we won't win. This person could get 16 and we win the game. And I think Kuminga was more of a person that if he was able to be in that lineup, they would have won more games.
What, exactly the question?
Yeah.
From Steve Kerr's quote?
Yeah.
Nigga, I wish you would tell me I'm not special enough to be in the lineup or whatever the fuck he said. Yo, we found the lineup that works. This, that, there. It's only 5 players on the floor at a time. So when you're substituting people in, you're basically saying he wasn't even good enough to be on the bench, part of the bench rotation. He subbed in the last 2 games and had the most for the Warriors. So he obviously is good enough to put in the game when you're in trouble, when you're not playing good. You want to risk it and see what he could bring to the table when the season's on the line. But when you're doing good, you can't find room to get him in the lineup. It ain't like you starting them, and it ain't like you ain't subbing niggas in. So, to me, I'm out. I don't. If I'm what's the little nigga name? Kuminga. I'm out, my nigga. I don't even like that. Wasn't even a good excuse that you use. We found the rotation that worked, and it's going to be hard for him. Pause to be in this series, and we see what we could do next series. Don't next series me, nigga. Fuck you mean you gonna see what I could do next series? You gonna figure out what Steph Curry gonna do next? I bet you Steph Curry's in every series, and I'm not comparing him to Steph Curry whatsoever. But I'm trying to say I'm not no scrub neither.
Okay. In the comments down below, let us know what you guys think is next for the Warriors. We're gonna go to break. When we return, we will discuss some NBA hot takes. Don't go anywhere.
She called this thing about toxic. 4 years and counting. Got you feeling like an option. Maybe I'm my own problem, babe. She tired of hearing I don't know. I'm stubborn in me won't fall. Dealing with this thing called trust. But she really thinking about it. She wanna be free.
Welcome back to It Is Now. So Cam has been hooking y'all up with discounted player picks on Underdog. And since this is the last It Is Now segment for now, make sure to take advantage while you can. So Cam, who are we discounting this week?
Today, I got a good one for y'all. Great one. We're doing SGA. SGA right now is at 30.5 points, but I think I like him at 24.5. Let me call UD up, Underdog up right now, and make the call. UD, what's good, baby? Yeah, everything. Yeah, we good. No, listen, y'all got SGA right now at 30.5 points. I think I like him at 24.5 points tonight. We work together, right? This is the last one for a minute. Do me this favor. I love you, my niggas. I love you. Pause. All right. Done deal. It's done.
See, and just like that, Cam made the call and Underdog made the play. SGA is at 24.5 points. This is available now until tip-off tonight for new and existing customers who have signed up with any of our promo codes. So code Mase, code Cam, code STAT. So make sure you guys take advantage of the final It Is Now promo now.
She called this thing about toxic. 4 years and counting. Got you feeling like an option. Maybe I'm my own problem, babe. She tired of hearing I don't know. My stubborn in me won't fall. Dealing with this thing called trust. But she really thinking about it. She wanna be free.
Welcome back. So I got some hot takes that I kind of want you guys' opinion on to see if it kind of aligns. So somebody said the NBA needs to shorten the season and add more breaks between playoff games. They said the playoffs are turning into whoever doesn't get injured. Of course, we've seen a lot of injuries throughout this season. But Mase, what do you think? Is that something that the NBA should consider?
No, I actually don't think they're playing enough games as is. I think people are taking a lot of games off. I think really part of the reason they keep getting injured is these low top sneakers, but they don't want to really look into it. Every time you see a person get hurt, just look at his sneakers. I mean, your sneakers matter. It's just like you're playing football. Your cleats matter. So when you're playing basketball and you're getting these things like the turning of the ankle, the knee, and all of these things, is because the base of the foot is not solid. And then people are like, well, you know, soccer players playing low tops all the time, but you didn't grow up playing soccer. That's the difference. You know, your ankle is not strong enough to be playing that way. And that's why we see these things happening. It's not like people are having upper body injuries. It's all lower body injuries, pause. So that definitely plays into a role of the sneaker, the stability of the leg, and they need to look into that.
No, I definitely don't think that there should be less games. Look, I hate just keep going back, but niggas was Karl Malone, I'm just giving the Karl Malone stat. 18 years in the NBA, longer than that. For his first 18 years, he missed 6 games in 18 years. We're talking about niggas who be taking half the season off for toe jam and all type of other shit. 6 games, and I'm just naming him. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of players that play 82 games and barely miss the game throughout the season. Now it's a stat. Now it's a whole, I played all 82, and niggas be impressed by it. Not only that, you getting low management pause anyway. Your coaches and staff are giving you certain games off, not even by your request to rest. No, I don't think it should be less games, man. Take care of your body. And like I said, everybody's body is different. And a lot of bigger players, to me, big men, I'm talking about pause, centers, power forwards, whatever, they get hurt more than others. But, you can't control it. Injuries are part of the game. That's what GM's jobs are to do. And I know we have our stars that we want to see. But your job is to get a roster, God forbid that somebody gets hurt that could fill in and do what they're doing. Of course, they're not going to be able to do what a superstar is doing, but at least maintain the organization so they could keep winning when your superstar's out. That's a GM's job, to get the roster together when these superstars are out and they can't play. You know, a lot of the game last night, they kept putting the camera on Mike Dunleavy, the GM now for Golden State, talking about, well, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Because they know Steph Curry needs more talent around him to win. Same thing we looked at last month and a half, however long it's been, looking at Nico for Dallas. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Miracle fell in his lap. That nigga, you know what I'm saying? I don't know how this nigga put it off, but the NBA said, we want White in Dallas. We need White. And they got White in Dallas. Dallas had 1.8% chance to win that lottery and ended up winning. Coincidental? You tell me. But no, I don't know if I'm not agreeing with less than 82 games. No.
Okay, so you bring up Dallas, which of course people still feel like that was rigged just because of the way it went about, the way the Mavs season went. We see that. But looking at the draft lottery, right? So the Mavs made it clear they will not be trading their number one pick, and they said they plan to draft Cooper Flagg. So I kind of want to focus on the different NBA markets, right? Mm-hmm. If Cooper Flagg were to evolve into the face of the league, do you think he would be able to exceed that on a team like the Wizards or the Hornets, or do you just think that's not possible? Because on the flip side, in the NFL, right, you have big superstars, which we arguably say Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league right now. He's in Kansas City. Do you feel like that's the same for the NBA or no?
I think the best player has always been in one of those type of markets. You look at Shaq. Shaq was like the most dominant player, but he was down in Orlando, and you see what happened. They got him to L.A. You know, when you think of Jordan, he was in Chicago. You think of Magic Johnson, again, in L.A. All the time when there's been like some of the best players, they always been in big markets. So when you look at somebody like Cooper Flagg, there's nothing wrong with Dallas. Dallas is definitely a big market, and it's one of the top 10 cities in the United States. So I think of definitely Texas as a place you want to be, if you're especially as a Caucasian superstar.
And then just to clarify, so you don't think he would do so well on a team like the Hornets or maybe the Wizards or even the Jazz? Because you
don't want Cooper Flagg in Charlotte. Now, if he was in Utah, he would still do phenomenal in Utah because they got the fan base for that. You know, but I wouldn't put.
Oh, she's saying like a face of the league in those
in Utah.
Yeah, that's what she's saying. Not if he's going to do well.
Yeah, I think he could be the face in Utah. Out of all of the other cities that are more popping, because you got the fan base that'll cover that.
Okay, what do you think?
And present the question exactly. Just basically, will he be the face of the league in the teams that you named that aren't doing?
Yeah, in a smaller market.
To me, it's about winning. It isn't. To me, of course, you want them to be in a big city or a big market. Absolutely, 100%. But if the Washington Wizards went to the Eastern Conference Finals, yeah, he could be the face of the league. I'm talking about if he was on the Washington Wizards. When you win, that solves everything. Yeah. When you're not winning, it doesn't matter. Cleveland is not a big market. LeBron James was the face of the league, whether you want to say the face of the league. He's the face of the league in Cleveland. For years, Cleveland is not a big market, but you win. And he not saying he won the first time around, but he won enough for them to be the face of the league. Then he went to Miami and then comes back to Cleveland again and goes to 4 straight championships and wins one. You know what happened with KD coming to Golden State, et cetera. But when you win, that solves everything. So yes, Cooper Flagg could be the face of the league eventually, but it also comes with winning, and not just winning, being the dominant player on the winning team. So I think that Mase is correct when you definitely want a player in a big market, 100%. But does it have to be? I don't think that it has to be, but you have to win also. You can't go 12 and 70 and be like, well, the nigga was averaging 40, we gonna make him the face of the league. No, you have to, for coming with the face of the league, it ain't like you gotta be the champions yet, as much as we say Antman, or we know Jason Tatum has a title now, or he's saying John Morant, who doesn't have a title, who could have been the face of the league they were talking about. They have no titles, but they're looking for somebody to give it to. They're doing everything in their power, and it's that obvious that you could have gave it to somebody by Luka like by now. You could have gave it to somebody like the Joker right now. You could have gave it to somebody like SGA, who's potentially getting there right now. But you want an American. I get it. We don't want to submit as America and as the NBA that the face of the league be somebody who's not American. Because you could have been advertising overseas players for a minute now to be the face of the league. That's why I said you got a homegrown white nigga. It is a difference from having a white person that's not from America than having a white person that's from America. Why do you think the people went so crazy for Caitlin Clark? It's not just America, it's middle America, which is really just Eminem land. You get what I'm saying? When you in middle America doing the things that she was doing, this is the results, the views, the sponsorships, the TV ads, everybody's a spectacle around what she's doing to where they want her to play with the men in 3-on-3 and ice. It's all type of shit when you're white American and you're as good as you are. So Cooper Flag just got to do what he needs to do. On this team presently constructed with the Dallas Mavericks, he could definitely be beneficial. We know Anthony Davis is not consistently healthy, even though he's been playing a lot of games the last 2 seasons. Kyrie's not coming back to the middle of the season, December or January. This could be your time to really shine at the beginning of the season. Anthony Davis is not a ball-dominant person. Cooper Flag, actually, I seen him at the Combine. He actually grew her, and she's 6'9" now, 240 pounds. That's great basketball height and size. Pause, like, my nigga, you 6'9", 240, 18 years old. He actually, but a lot of people don't know about Cooper Flag. This year in Duke that he played, he's still supposed to be in high school, technically, as he skipped a year forward because his grades and so on and so forth. But he was really a senior in high school this past year that he played at Duke. So basically, if he went to Duke again next year, which he'd be technically a sophomore, it really been his freshman year coming up. Kid got a lot of time and a lot of potential. If I was Dallas, I doubt I'd trade him too. Even though I know Giannis, you could probably win now, but you can't buy that white, man. You can't buy that good old American white. You can't do it.
That was crazy, but
you reaching on. I know all show. I see you on my peripheral. All show I see him. Can't wait. He mad at me because he won't play in Jimmy. He mad at me.
I can't buy that white was crazy, but
that's reaching. You can't buy that white. That's super duper. We go to court about that. Come on, you can't buy that white. Come on, man. I don't know what you thinking about. What's on your mind, man? I have no idea. You can't buy that white. I would think you think about cocaine before anything else. When you talk about white, as a Harlem nigga, I'm just thinking first thing white would be cocaine from where we grew up, but maybe not Jacksonville. I don't know if you Floridian, Murda, I don't know what Mase I'm getting from day to day.
Okay, so looking at some of the last games and obviously taking out Jokic and Tatum, but what player do you think has the best storyline for winning their first ring if they were to advance? Looking at Anthony Edwards, Jalen Brunson, Haliburton, and SGA.
I think that's a good question, but I more so because of some of the stories off the court, I wouldn't say Anthony Edwards. I think actually Haliburton has the best story when you think about him being a guy that wasn't no star when he was in high school, getting to college, now becoming a star in the NBA and winning in this market of Indiana. Just like you got Carlisle who gets kind of like walked out of Dallas and he wins in Indiana. There's a lot of great stories with this Indiana team. There's really no one person that's doing this. Even you got Siakam that had some hard times down there in Atlanta. He get to Indiana, they get a ring. That I think Indiana would be the best story. And then it will be OKC.
Okay, so you
but the Knicks actually would be the best story. The best story would be New York. If New York won the championship, oh my goodness.
Are you celebrating?
I would have to go to the party. They might not let Cam in, but I'm not
one of them niggas that care about being where everybody at anyway. If I can't control the environment, a lot of times I don't like to be there anyway. My bad, I ain't gonna cut you off.
We're the same on that.
He said, actually, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm saying New York would be the best story. Like, they would never stop partying.
Okay, so New York is the best story overall. As far as specific player, Haliburton, then you're going SGA, and last you're going Anthony Edwards because of his off-court stuff.
You just when you think of story.
Okay. I'm going to get back to that, but I want to get Cam's answer, and then we can kind of compare.
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking about players, I agree with Mace's first take before he switched up and went to the Knicks. I think Tyrese Haliburton, to me, would be the best story because, and Antman as well, because Antman, like Mace said off the court, we always talk about baby mothers and lawsuits, attorneys and all this, but he had deaths in his family and dealt with a lot of personal things that a lot of young niggas wouldn't be able to handle as well as he's handling it as a 23-year-old and had to been dealing with it for a few years leading up to this. So personal stories outside of basketball, it might be Antman because of the deaths in his family that he's been dealing with for the last few years. But if we're talking storylines, I'm going with Haliburton because he's not even from Milwaukee. He's from Oshkosh, Wisconsin. Wherever Oshkosh is, shout to Oshkosh, Wisconsin. I'm not sure if it's a lot, just listening to people talk about, it's not a lot of basketball prospects that's considered to go to the NBA. Then he wasn't drafted high. Then he isn't, people are mad he's on the Olympic team and they're saying he's an overrated player just a couple weeks ago. Top actually voted the #1 overrated player. And this is actually in his young career, his second trip to the Eastern Conference Finals. As much as we love Jalen Brunson, and I know he was hobbled last year, and we love the Knicks because the Knicks are a New York franchise and they haven't won in 50 years, haven't been to a conference finals in 25 years. It'd be a great story for New York. But we're talking about personal triumph stories, and from the question of stat presented, which player? To me, it's Antman, what he's overcome personally, and then Tyrese Haliburton after that.
Okay, and then just back to your point really quick. I know you said Antman's off the court issues, but how much do you think that takes into a play? Just how much, basically where he's gotten to at this point in the series and what he's done? Like, does that make a big difference to you, or do you feel like that can kind of be swept under the rug? Like, how do you feel about that? What's your stance?
I now that I heard what Cam said, I understand Antman a little bit more. But I still stick with my answer because I just think it'd probably be sending the wrong.
Okay. Just the message overall. Okay. I can accept that. Okay, so last thing before we wrap. So Warriors Draymond Green was fined $50,000 for questioning the integrity of NBA officials. He fouled out of Game 3 with 4 minutes and 38 seconds remaining, and the Warriors trailing just by 2 points. He said, 5.5, I know what y'all doing, basically to the refs. This was in reference to the 5.5 point spread in Game 3 that the league had announced. So the game ended with the Warriors' 5-point loss. But Mase, do spreads like this make you question officials' decisions too, or does that not mean much to you?
No, Draymond is a walking technical foul. Everywhere he goes, the antics that he pulled, his history, what he's known for, his reputation outside of basketball, and I mean outside of basketball while he's on a basketball court. That's crazy that you even have to say that. His reputation outside of basketball, because he'll be talking to one person, throw his hand this way, slap somebody and punch somebody this way, and it's like, pause. You just he'd be doing too much, man. And I hate for all of the great things that he's done on the basketball court that now get all, put together to where people are thinking of him that way, because he's such a phenomenal basketball player and team player and gritty player, but all the antics I could do without.
Yep, and real quick before I answer this question, Sat, because I know our fans too, like, what is Kim talking about the deaths of Antman's family? And the reason why I just want to give more knowledge to what I was talking about. When I say the controversy and the things he went through, Antman, for those that don't know, Antman's mom and grandmother died of cancer when he was in 8th grade, within like a 8-month span, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And they both died on the 5th day of the month or something like that. That's why he went to number 5. And so what I'm saying is to handle that from the 8th grade, you know, sometimes your grandmother is like your mother, depending on how you grew up. So for your mother and your grandmother to go in that sort of span before you even make it to high school and have the career he's having now, that's what I was talking about when I was saying the personal stories. Because people are like, what Duff's in the family? What is Cam talking about? So I just wanted to put some more context to what I was talking about on my last take. Now, what about Draymond exactly?
Yeah, so basically he was poking fun at the rest, talking about 5.5. I know what y'all are doing because that was a spread in game 3. So they kicked him out. You got a $50,000 fine. So does spreads like that make you question officials' decisions, or you feel like it has nothing to really do with that?
I mean, we done seen documentaries and heard officials admit they were cheating. You know, over the years, you go to Netflix, I can't think of the name of it. It's a whole documentary on Netflix about how the ref was cheating for years. It's actually another referee that has a documentary, how he used to hate on Allen Iverson personally and call mad fouls on Allen Iverson. If I'm Allen Iverson, I don't know how this works. I'm going back and suing. You may have cost me a championship, publicly admitting that you was hating on me for 10 years while you was refereeing. You know, one of them shit's like, I know this nigga just calling this, and then to come to find out this shit is true. It's like, yo, man, you playing with my livelihood, because who knows what games you called, and I didn't go into detail or do the due diligence, but who knows if these were important games that he was refereeing when Allen Iverson was playing. I don't think that is far-fetched what Draymond's talking about, but every referee, are they corrupt? No, because you don't want to get busted. They throwing niggas in jail right now for gambling on certain things. More importantly, when I did see that take, what I was thinking to myself, and Draymond, my nigga, I love him, but how you know the spread? Pause. How you know? How you knew in the middle? How you knew in the middle of the game, fourth quarter, you thinking about the 5.5 point spread? That was on your mind, though. That's how I would have took it. If I was the ref, I'd be like, "How you know? I wasn't even thinking about the 5.5 points. Why is that on your mind the fourth quarter of this game?" That's what I would have said if I was the referee. But yeah, it doesn't surprise me from Draymond. No, not at all.
That's actually hilarious. That's a really great point.
That's what I would have said as a comeback.
How you know?
Yeah, how you know? Nigga, what the fuck you talking about?
Right. Okay, and then last thing before we wrap, because I want to circle back to this and as to why I kind of asked you about Antman, just because I think it is kind of a good conversation. Because you know how people are kind of like, can you separate the artist from the music? So like, can you separate the player from the sport? I think that's the kind of the question that it poses when people talk about, okay, this stuff happens, but how do you feel about their on-court?
Yeah, and I'm not against him in no way. Yeah. He's from Atlanta, so you want him to do well.
Well, what does that mean? What does that mean? He's from Atlanta. Why can't he do well from Seattle? What does that mean, Murda? What does that mean? What is that? I asked you if you're an AT alien. Oh, you're an AT alien or not?
I'm not an AT alien, but she was asking about the storyline. So the storyline goes with marketing. When you think of marketing, this is more for the mainstream brand. If you think, I watched Anthony Edwards play several games when he was like in the 9th grade, when he was playing up in Morehouse, when he was a combo guard trying to figure out if he was a point or a shooting guard. So I was there to see the evolution of what he is right now. But when you asked me, it was about the storyline. The storyline is more so. It's better. It's probably a better story with Haliburton because it inspire people that are not that good to keep going and stuff like that. But you got a similar story in Anthony Edwards. But I think some of the other things that happen just kind of put it in a different light. And I'm trying to deal with it the right way.
Mase, you said this would be good because he's from Atlanta. I don't know what Atlanta has to do. Why couldn't he be from Seattle and have the same story? Why he couldn't be from Nebraska?
Or Oshkosh.
Yeah, Oshkosh. But I just try to figure out, what city are you down with?
Says the guy who's wearing Boston right now.
I'm not from Boston. I have no relation with Boston. I used to love the Patriots too. Yeah. I'm just saying, Jeff Hamilton sent this to me, you know. I'm just following protocol on the show. And Jason Tatum, you're my title town, Jason Tatum, man. I can't wait for you to get back. What's the exact question so I can answer it correctly?
I was basically saying, you know, people ask, can you separate the artist from the music? So can you separate the player from the sport?
I could.
Yeah.
I absolutely could. Listen, We sit there all the time and listen, it depends on what it is. Like, and that's a great question. I like that question because sometimes it's blurred lines.
Yeah.
Niggas can't separate me from a movie some nights. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, it's not easy for everybody to do. Can I do it? Cool. So can everybody do it? Cool. Let me give you an example, right? Can it be done? Yes, but I'm gonna give you an example. For some people, it's not easy.
It's hard for people.
For certain people, like for instance, right? Some people separated too much. I was hanging out one night with Vivica Fox. So me and Vivica watching TV, and she just can't stop critiquing the television show or movie. I can't remember what it was. And I'm like, you just can't watch the show? She like, Cam, to be honest with you, I can't. She said, it's only like 2 shows I can watch. Everything else I'm looking at what the actors doing wrong or what they're doing right or how they set the scene up or how the lighting is or so on and so forth. And I'm like, damn, that's fucked up. Niggas can't watch TV. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because they're over critiquing it to where they can't even enjoy it. Pause.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, I could set back to the athlete point of view. It depends. Let's think about this, and I'm not bringing up anything. Matter I'm not going to say it because I'm like, Cam, why you bringing it up? But when you win, a lot of shit go out the window.
Yeah.
When you win, niggas forget that, he stabbed 2 niggas last year, but they averaged 42 this year.
Yeah, somebody died on the highway.
Yeah. When you winning, it's not, and me and Mase are not saying that this is right by any stretch of the imagination. We're not saying it's correct, but it's the truth. When niggas win, a lot of shit go out the window. It's the same thing like I seen a lot of NFL athletes saying, when they were saying that niggas blackballed Shador and this, that, and he should have went before that. It was NFL players that's now analysts saying that they could say that, and they would argue on the NFL Live and so on and so forth. Shout out to Marcus Spears and them guys, Swagoo. And they were saying that if you're good enough, that they'll find a way for you to get in the NFL. They're saying you can sit there and say he's a headache, he's going to bring mad attention, he wears too many gold chains, whatever. But their perspective was, if you're a winner, all that's going to go out the window. It does not matter. So for me, if somebody did something wrong, I can hold them accountable for doing something wrong. But if they winning, they winning. Does that make them a good person off the field, off the court? No, I didn't say that. But they're winning. And if the organization, this is what happens. If you're not doing good, right, and you do some bullshit on the street, the organization be like, we can't control that conduct on our organization. We're not a part of this, that, and the third, and we're going to have to let him go. Pause. If you're winning, then the organization says, we believe in second chances. That's
exactly right.
Yeah, and this is America. And if a young man made a mistake out there, it isn't upon us.
We shouldn't hold his whole future.
We're not going to hold his whole future against him and not give him an opportunity to play. That's the way it go. If you're good and you can win, they'll figure it out. Me, can I separate 2? I could, yes. Everybody, I don't think everybody can though.
Great
and
point.
I think some athletes are the same way. They can't separate the two. They're like Vivica Fox when they're watching basketball.
Right. Yep.
And that's just reality. Well, that is all the time that we have for today. Thank y'all for watching. And as always, it is what it is.
What you want, nigga? Everything, nigga, super size. 2 Big Macs, like when they doing them 2 for $5.